Hey, Dream City Church. So great to come to you this Monday morning. On the heels of what we learned yesterday about being used by God, we learned really the only way to make a difference is to be different. And I want to kind of play off of that for just a moment and come at it a different direction on this Monday morning. You know, Zechariah 4:10 tells us that we should not despise the day of small beginnings. That we should look at what God has put in our hand right now, thank God for that, present it to God, and when we present it to God, it becomes sanctified, it becomes empowered by God, and then God uses what we have and He multiplies it and He expands it. So I want to encourage you today to think about this question. What has God currently put in my hand? What position, what influence, what wealth, what wisdom, what relationships, what has God put in my hand? And whatever that is, the starting point is to present that to God and say, God, use this for your glory. I told the story this past Wednesday in our staff meeting about Joe Martinez. Joe Martinez is our number 2 guy at Dream City Church. He's risen all the way to the top, only one position left to conquer, and that's my position, so I got my eye on him. But God's really raised this young man up. And he came here, moved to Phoenix about 15 years ago without a job. And at that time, we were opening our pantry across the street, and we needed a director. He knew nothing about food ministry. He knew nothing about food distribution. But he knew that he was given a job, a position to do. So he went around to all the distribution centers, food distribution centers in Phoenix, St. Mary's Food Bank and St. Vincent de Paul, all these different food distributors. He began to ask questions. He began to learn. God raised him up. And when they opened Mom's Pantry, it was a juggernaut. It impacted this area, this side of Phoenix. God used him greatly. Well, from there, Joe took on more responsibility at the church as a volunteer. Pretty soon, we had our eye on him, and we said, this guy is being used at such a great level as a volunteer. We have to hire him. We can afford not to hire him. And so we did. See, Joe took whatever was put in his hand, and he didn't despise the small thing. He said, thank you, Lord, for the small thing. He was faithful with it, and God raised him up to a level today where he's impacting really the nation through his leadership, through all of our networks and ministries and satellite locations. So I want to encourage you today, ask God, what have you put in my hand? Now, God doesn't only ask you to do this, He models it Himself. When God decided to come to planet Earth, how did He do it? Did He show up with lightning strikes and a big storm and I'm God, everybody listen to me? No, He didn't do it that way. He came through an embryo implanted in the womb of a Virgin Mary. He started small. Jesus grew up a very simple lifestyle in a simple little neighborhood known as Nazareth. And He raised up in that area, and the people around Him said, this could not be God because that's just Jesus. He played with our kids growing up. They despised the small thing. God Himself was walking around in their midst, and they couldn't see it. Why? Because He was too small. They despised the small thing, and they missed God. They missed the power of God, even though He was walking among them. This week, I want you to think about this. What small thing has God put in my hand? Remember the story of Moses in the Bible? God spoke to Moses and said, Moses, what's that in your hand? And Moses said, well, it's a stick. It's a rod. They're all over, God. You want one of them? I'll get you one. God said, Moses, throw it down. Moses threw it down. It became a stake. God said, pick it up. And when He picked it up, it became known as the rod of God. What happened? He sanctified what he had. He took the stick, the rod, gave it to God, and it became the rod of God. I don't know what you have in your hand today, but whatever it is, if you want to see it maximized, if you want to see it used for God's glory, if you want your next 10 to be your best next 10, take what you have, present it to God, and watch what God does with it. Love you guys so much. That's one thought for today. Take what God has given to you. Don't despise it. Give it to God and watch God use it in your life. I can't wait to see you on Wednesday night. It's going to be another wonderful night. God bless you guys.